In this fast-moving world where everything or many things go on a superficial level, why should we even bother to reconnect with our inner world? Why is it even so important to be connected to our feelings, to our emotions, to our true inner self? In this video, I'm going to talk about the reasons why it is really important, in my opinion. Otherwise, we cannot live our true self, our authentic being. And in the first video of the series, we were talking about why we cannot be connected, what makes it so hard, what is the struggle, what keeps us from being connected to our inner world. And in this video, we're going to talk about why is it so important, what are the benefits. So if you are interested in that one, then I wish you a nice time listening and see you there. First of all, you get an improved self-awareness. So how can you know who you truly are, what do you really need, and what do you really want when you cannot really feel? And because feelings, they're like an inner compass. Even though, of course, feelings can be there without the outside situation kind of being, how to say, let's say, for example, you are feeling angry because your partner let the socks fall down or whatever. The anger is not equivalent to the case that the socks are on the floor. This triggers something. So it's like there's an underneath issue that is triggered by the socks. So what I mean is that the feelings we feel are not always connected to the direct situation, but feelings are always valid and legit. So everything that you feel has somehow a reason. And if that maybe is a trigger from past, and whatever your triggers are, maybe negative feedback is a trigger for you, or criticism, other things that you feel you getting angry, something is a reaction that comes up. It's somehow, the feelings are always valid. They have a reason, they are there for a reason. And you kind of need to connect in order to be self-aware, to be able to know what you want, what your needs are. When you don't feel, for example, that you need closeness, or that you need a partner who sometimes just listens instead of speaking, how can you then know that you really need a relationship like that? You need to kind of, this, like your values. You need to be like, I need this, I need that, I need to feel this, I need to have a partner who, I don't know, comes to hikes with me because I want to feel the sense of doing stuff together and da da da. So when a person's not doing that, that's not really a good fit, you know what I mean? And you kind of need to know that, come to your terms with yourself first to be able to set your standards. And of course, better emotional regulation. We are able to process and manage our emotions without suppressing them. So suppressing is just ignoring. And you have to always imagine that these inner feelings, especially when they're kind of not processed, and so they're like old emotions coming from some inner child of you. And when you ignore it, it's like ignoring this little boy or this little girl inside of you who's like, having this emotion, but nobody is caring. And then we suppress, we do something else, we like ignore it. And this makes it worse. It makes it worse. And this is why anger outbursts happen, stress, frustration, because the pressure builds up inside. It builds up, and you're like, kind of the anger, and like what to do, and you feel it pressuring up, but you kind of still ignore it. So in order to prevent this kind of pressure building up to a level that you kind of freak out and you lose it, it's better to like take the alarm signals before and react accordingly. Like, okay, I feel da 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 da, so I better whatever. And this completely without judgment. Let's say you have a day and you feel this anger for whatever reason. It's always interesting to why I'm feeling this anger now. And then maybe change the plan for the evening, because you know it would not end well. If somebody says something wrong, I'm gonna lose it. So just better maybe stay alone and deal. I will come to the points what you can do with the emotions a bit later, but it's really helpful to take the alarm signals first, and then react accordingly to that. Of course, enhanced relationships. When you know what you feel, you can communicate on a completely different level. And also what is really important, that for us women, when we feel that a man is shut off from his own emotions and his own feelings, that means he kind of suppresses, denies, and disowns his own feelings. We subconsciously realize he will reject that in us. So there will come the point when we get emotional for whatever reason. We can get emotional for all kinds of things. And we need this kind of rock and strong frame of the masculine to kind of know, even if I'm like being emotional, he kind of can handle it. And I don't mean being emotional at him, but being emotional in general. And somebody who can hold it, because it's not scary for him. It's not a threat. It's not like, oh, what's happening? Oh my God, I have to get out of here. And then we cannot create this trust for the masculine. If we cannot create the trust, we cannot lean back in our feminine. We cannot relax. We cannot be like, this is not possible. You can, and like I said before, you can just hold something on the level you kind of dealt with in yourself. So yes, when you have dealt with your anger, when you have dealt with your sadness, maybe your grief for whatever happened in your childhood or whatever happened with your parents, or like traumatic things that happened, when you really dealt with this grief and this desperation and powerlessness and all these things, then the woman in your life who is having these feelings is not going to be a threat to you, because you can understand, you can look more from the outside. You kind of not get emotionally kind of involved and suppress it because you feel like panic. That's, you can kind of more relax and hold the frame for the feminine emotional world. And of course, communicate more openly about your needs and say, look, I just had a meditation yesterday, or I was reflecting on my feelings, and I kind of don't feel this is right for me anymore. Or you want to make adjustments to the relationships, or you want to maybe say that something she did was made you feel like this. And so the open communication really enhances every relationship. And of course, with boundaries, like, just from speaking from our feelings doesn't do anything to the other, unless it triggers the other person. But I can say, I felt like this when you said that. And what's the other person going to do with it? Like, blame me for feeling that? Like, I'm sorry, I just felt it. And for that, it's really important to gain this trust, so that we know that the other person's coming from a place of goodwill and not saying these things to kind of guilt us or shame us. No, they're just saying it because they really want to share their heart. And we kind of feel that, the difference between somebody is just really non-offensively sharing their heart, opposite from sharing their heart in order to make the other person feel guilty. So there you have to be also really alert. And And of course, not share your feelings with everybody. Be careful with your inner world. Be mindful of the person who you open up to, because if you do it and the other person reacts in a way like rejecting it, it can strengthen your belief that sharing emotions and feelings are wrong, even though it's just the other person not being able to deal with it. So, of course, next point, healing and growth from past trauma and resilience. Like I said in another video about the benefits of healing from trauma, is that you create this resilience that comes out of from this, like you're dealing with your darkest shadows, with your worst emotions, with your feelings that come up, and you deal with it. You don't suppress it, you kind of deal with it. And this creates this resilience of you being like, nothing can shock me anymore. Like, I have seen my worst inner parts. I have seen the sadness. I have seen the grief. I've really felt it. I was there for me. So you get this kind of strength from that, and you kind of grow. And the more you grow, the more courageous you get to dive into your inner world, to kind of like that. It's not a threat anymore. You kind of like, okay, there's more emotions coming, and it's not a threat to you anymore. That also creates next point, inner peace, because this whole, especially when it comes about trauma, emotions, they come up from inner children. They are unhealed inner children. They were rejected, they were beaten up, they were abused emotionally, maybe from narcissistic abuse. This is a lot of stuff to heal, guys. It's not disappearing into the air or something. They are like little kids inside of us. They are having these emotions and they still want to show it. They still want to show it, and they want us to look at it and be there for them and kind of feel it. To really feel it. This is why they're called feelings. We need to feel it. They're not supposed to be suppressed or ignored. And when you do that, it creates, like I also mentioned in another video, this self-trust, this piece of like, I was there for me. I know now the angry 15 years old, like, I understand, and I'm there for her when she gets angry again. The little child. There's so many layers, guys, so many aspects of us that are inside of us. We're not just like this shell and the emotions are coming randomly. They have always a purpose and always some important message to say. Next point, clarity in life choices. Of course, this comes to career, relationships, personal choices, like I said before. You feel that or that, and you're like, okay, in order to create the life that I want, that I need to do this and this and this. So you make decisions according to your feeling world. For example, you feel you want to live in a warmer country. You're like, okay, then sooner or later I'm going to have to move to a warmer country. But you can't just know that when you really feel inside, like, okay, do I really feel comfortable in the cold? No. And then you kind of make your decisions, and do I really feel comfortable with this person? Like, really? Is it too close? Is it too far? Do we talk enough? Do we talk not enough? Do we have this kind of relationship that I want? Am I living the job that I want? All these kind of questions, it's not, we should not see it as a burden. It's more like an invitation to grow and to make the life choices that bring you on the aligned path, on your own path. And this is why it's so important to really reflect on our inner world. Of course, boosted confidence. You're getting more aligned with yourself. Imagine, like, you make these life choices. And I just was talking to another friend a few days ago, and he said he had a really intense transformation time in his own healing journey, and he made some major life, like he set some boundaries in the partnership, about his job. He made some adjustments, and he said, like, okay, now I'm still not knowing what's going on. I'm still confused, but these little things already feel better. They feel like, okay, I was standing up for myself. I was standing up for my life. I'm doing the things that I feel are aligned with myself. And once you start doing that, it gets fun, guys. It gets better. And the confidence you get from that, because you trust yourself more. Like, okay, I'm my compass. I'm my own compass. I don't need to ask anybody what kind of job adjustments I should do, or should I leave the partner, or should I not, and because you know, like, stop everything. You go back to your own place, and you're like, what do I feel about it? What is my intuition telling me? And then next point, of course, authentic happiness, because you can just experience true joy and fulfillment when you're not being numb and shutting yourself up, shutting yourself down from your emotions, because you block the pain, but you also block the joy and the fulfillment flowing, because emotions are energies. And when we are out of fear, not allowing them to really flow, we cannot also feel joy. And this is also what I realized, is that even there was a fear in me of being expressive and loud, and you're like, hello guys, what is going on? Like this side of me that is like the child coming into the room, like, okay, what's going on? Let's play a theater. Let's guys, let's come on, let's go outside. And it's just not thinking even twice about what anybody else would think. You just be as you are. But for me, in my past, many times it was like, shh, don't shout, and just sit quiet, just don't be loud. And all the time for years. And then you create this kind of like, okay, being loud and being joyful is somehow wrong. And so this also is something we block. And we must understand we block our own joy because of fear. You know what I mean? And then last point, what is really important, I think, is when you get connected to your inner world again, you stop living in a jail of avoidance. Because when there's fear from anything, we build this wall around us. So this comfort zone wall, like, we don't go there because no, we don't do this because of and these are so many times subconscious. For example, when you subconsciously, you're not even aware of it, you are afraid of showing yourself vulnerable, and you're afraid of looking stupid in a conversation about feelings. You rather avoid it, but you avoid it so much that you don't even realize that you avoid it. For example, people who don't even have relationships, they don't even get into relationships because the fear is so strong that they rather convince themselves, like, I don't need a relationship, I'm happy single, it's all great, it's great, and I don't need that. But deep inside, and I realized it so many times when I was on plant medicine retreats, and in the settings of meeting with people, talking about stuff, when you get deeper, the truth comes out. And this is why it's so precious and so important to get deeper, because when you come to the real reason, you can realize, no, wait a minute, maybe I'm avoiding it, but I actually really want it. So there's kind of this contradiction inside of me, which prevents things from happening. Because when you're on a subconscious level, avoid relationships, or you avoid closeness, your conscious mind can do whatever. It's not going to happen. Your subconscious is always stronger. Your beliefs, your subconscious fears, they are always stronger, because it's like this strong energy inside. It's like this, this picture with the iceberg. 90% is our subconscious, the iceberg underwater, and 10% is the conscious mind making all kinds of plans and like, I'm planning the perfect relationship and da da da. And I can just tell from my example that I always thought I'm looking for a relationship. I'm open. I'm like, I really want it. But then a few years passed in my healing journey. I realized, no, I was avoiding intimacy like the plague. I was avoiding it subconsciously. I was standing there with a gun, and whoever came close to me, I sabotaged it subconsciously. I made problems. I left. I ran away. I'm like, whatever. Like, and I come to that also in another video about the relationship styles, because that's also really interesting from all these past experiences we have, the relationship styles we form, the avoidant relationship style and the anxious relationship style, because they have different strategies to deal with the fear of intimacy, but they are like complete different strategies, but so many times they kind of come together and trigger each other. The one runs away and the other gets closer, and the one who runs away gets completely freaked out from the one coming and pressuring, and the one with the fear is freaking out because the other one is running away. So it's fascinating, really. And so guys, when you have come this far, congratulations. I'm really proud of you. Listening to this kind of topics from a woman is really amazing, and I'm proud that you are open and that you come to this point where you like want to listen to this kind of things. So if you ask me, guys, these are a lot of reasons to be connected. If I could not inspire you, then I don't know what. But in the next video, we're going to talk about ways to reconnect. So I will give some inspiration about how to reconnect. I hope by now you're going to be like, yeah, I want to be connected to my inner world. Sounds awesome. And to have shown you maybe a little bit that there's waiting so much for you. It's not just pressure and uncomfortable I have to feel. It's like it helps you. It makes you grow. It makes you stronger. So if you want to find out in the third part of the series, what are the ways to reconnect, how you can be inspired to reconnect yourself, also just for yourself without anybody knowing it, then please click on the next video. Also, there's the first part with reasons to understand why we cannot be connected, which is also interesting to first understand what is it keeping us to be connected. So these three parts, they really come together. It was just too long for one video, so I kind of cut them off. And if you want to find out the ways to reconnect, what can you do, then I wish you a nice time listening to the next video. And if you like this one, I'm always happy to receive a like or maybe a share, a comment. Let me know what you think about it, what your reasons are, maybe that you are maybe not connected or that you want to connect to your inner world. So then I wish you a nice afternoon or evening, day, and I hope I see you in the next video, guys. Namaste.